Lowe's knows when you're looking for reliability, the right brand makes all the difference. And now, Lowe's is the exclusive home improvement retailer for the Whirlpool water treatment line, including their Wi-Fi softener, under-sink filtration system, and more. With Whirlpool's proven performance and our everyday low prices, better tasting, better quality water is within reach. Shop pro-trusted brands like Whirlpool and more, in-store or online. Lowe's, we help, you save.
You're listening to the Cruise Tips TV Unplugged podcast. Today on the show, we're helping some of our listeners determine what might be the next best cruise line for them. Welcome to Cruise Tips TV Unplugged. I'm your host, Sherry, and we invite you to join our cruise-loving family as we travel the world creating cruise videos and vlogs. In this podcast, we talk tips, tactics, and strategies to help you make every cruise your dream cruise.
Interesting.
Hey, welcome back, by the way. You're here.
I am here.
Yeah.
Barely. But I'm here.
You're here. Well, we're so glad to have you here. For those of you who don't know what we're talking about, my poor co-host here had a rough patch for about 3 weeks with a cough. So he decided to sit it out with the podcast because it's no fun when you're trying to suppress a cough and talk. But we're so glad you're here.
It wouldn't have been possible.
No, you couldn't
It's
have
not
made
like
it.
I just decided, hey, I'm not going to do this today. I couldn't talk.
Yeah, you did have a hard time. For a couple weeks there, it was rough, but I don't want to linger on that because I know you don't want to linger on that. But I just want to tell you it's way more fun when you're here. Welcome back. And I think that this is a fun topic. I love digging deep on a question to help our audience. And I got this email from Bill and Stacy who live over in Michigan. And they said, hey, look, we've followed you guys for years. We've been sailing on Royal Caribbean since the early 90s. Hey, that's when I started cruising too. That's when I went on my high school graduation cruise. Now everybody knows how old I am. Now they're actually diamond status on Royal Caribbean, right? But they're thinking about switching over, trying something else. And they're having a little bit of a difficult time doing that because they are like ready to relax. Their kids are grown up. They like some shows. They like hanging out by the pool. But they don't really feel like they have to have like activity all the time. So they are in their middle-aged, mid-50s, and they have obviously no kids right now because their kids are grown. So what we're trying to stay away from for them, just to cut to the chase, and then we'll back it up a little bit. We want to stay away from short party cruises. Maybe Carnival is not for them. They've said that based on what they've seen in recent videos, they don't drink either. And they probably want to steer clear of Disney since they don't have kids and it's just not really of interest to them. But other than that, they want everybody's ideas.
See, it's interesting because there are some factors here that could make the difference.
Yes.
Because if they want something completely different, then maybe something like MSC or Princess. But if they want just a little transition,
right, then
maybe Celebrity is going to be a better choice. So
yes.
I'm interested to hear how our audience responded and how you are going to respond.
Okay, good. Well, we'll get into it. And then at the end of the show, if anybody's interested in catching up on some cruise news, there have been some neat developments over the last few weeks. So we're going to touch on some cruise news stories, maybe not everything, but also just a reminder, you can always find the latest cruise news at our website, CruiseTipsTV.com. You can always search for things there if there's something you're looking for. We do our best to keep it updated to the degree that we get the press releases in time. But there's some fun stuff happening there. But yeah, we went ahead and asked our audience on Facebook what they thought about this topic for Bill and Stacy. And I was very impressed with all of the replies. And what I tried to do so that we could make this a little bit simpler is consolidate things down a little bit to the certain cruise lines and talk about what the most common recommendations were and why. And then we'll share maybe some more non-obvious recommendations as well. We had a really interesting idea for something that was non-cruise that we can talk about a little bit later. But okay, now if you had to guess, based on our Facebook audience, what do you think was the most common cruise line, the single most common cruise line that people said they should try at this phase?
Princess.
Yeah, it actually was. It was Princess. And I know that you haven't seen this because you don't have Facebook or look at Facebook. So I know for a fact you haven't seen this. But Princess was by and large the most recommended cruise line for Bill and Stacy. Now, that might also be, there may be a little bias there. because we have cruised Princess a lot. And sometimes I think that our audience cruises Princess a lot because we do too, right? We're maybe attracting audience. So there should be some disclosure there that maybe that's why.
Sure.
But this, and we'll go back to Princess in a moment, but the second most popular cruise line, we have never tried, but we are very eager to try and hope to actually do that in the next year. And do you know which one that is?
Celebrity.
Yes. So Princess and Celebrity came out on top for Bill and Stacy as the top recommendations. People were like, yeah. They were very confident too. They would say things like, for sure, Princess or Celebrity, or for sure. Yeah, and they spelled it like that. F-E-R, sure.
Yeah.
Yes, the Valley Girl
comes
out. Yes, right. But there was a lot of confidence that that's what they should try. So why would they want to try Princess would be the question. And I narrowed this down to some of the comments people made and some of my personal thoughts for Bill and Stacy too. And, keeping in mind, you guys, when we're talking about these cruise lines, not every ship is the same. So I may give some recommendations on specific ships or classes of ships that I think will be better for them. For Bill and Stacy, I'm assuming since they've cruised since the 90s, they've probably been on just about, I don't know if they've been on every Royal Caribbean ship, but I'm assuming they've sailed small ships and they've sailed larger ships. But I would actually think that Princess, if they were to try that, they should try one of the newest ships in the fleet, like Sun or maybe even Star, that's coming out this October, actually, I apologize. Because what happened with Princess Cruises is that they broke the mold when they created Sun and Star. The ships are designed very differently, and they're much more contemporary and modern. I think for someone coming from Royal Caribbean, which is obviously a very cutting-edge cruise line with modern lines, it might be best for them to start there. And then if they like the Princess product, work back down to the older ships and see, how they compare those two. So that's going to be my official recommendation for them on Princess.
How old is Discovery now?
Discovery, if I had to guess, I would say it was either right before or right after the pandemic.
So it's relatively new.
Did she? Let's see. I'm going to look it up. I have to know. When was her launch date? Let's see. March of 2022. So right after the pandemic. So it's, relatively new. You're only looking at 3.5 years there.
Yeah, it might be a nice option.
Beautiful.
Especially if they're going to like Alaska or want to go to Alaska, something like that.
Yes, all of the newer Princess ships are just gorgeous, right? Royal, Regal, Discovery, Sky, Enchanted. There's just so many good ones. So I think that just stick with the ones that are in the last 5 years. I think would be the best route to go if you're going to try Princess. So what does Princess have to offer them, right? That maybe Royal Caribbean doesn't. In general, it's a more elevated feel, right? Your Princess is a premium cruise line. And in some ways, Royal has elements of that. But in general, Royal Caribbean is known for being a family cruise line. And Princess is where we sort of take it down a notch and we're relaxing. And the demographic is quite a bit older on Princess.
So you're saying it's a more elevated experience, but that's a relatively new term. So let's have some examples of how it is elevated, especially in comparison to Royal, because Royal might say, oh yeah, we're elevated because we have Lowrider and we have the rock climbing wall.
Sure.
It's a different type of experience on Princess.
When I think about what elevated means, I think it's synonymous with something being slightly more upscale.
Like elegant.
Elegant. I also think of elevated as being some of the offerings might feel a little bit more, elegant is a good word, generous. Whether it's when you're on Sun Princess, you've got a dry bar hairdryer in the drawer. Dry bar hairdryers, probably if you were to go buy one on Amazon, would cost you a couple $100. There's these elevated amenities that you're going to find on these ships too. But do you know what I think the most elevated amenity is on Princess or a ship of this type? For me, it's the guest to space ratio. That is where you're going to feel like something is different and elevated. You're going to feel a little bit less crowding overall in every space that you're in, a little bit less frenzy than you might on like Royal Caribbean or Norwegian or Carnival, where you have lots of families and you also have these ships being booked at very high capacity, and the guest to space or guest to square footage ratio is much lower. And so to me, that's the difference with Princess, Celebrity, and Holland America. We're talking about premium but still mass market cruise lines here, where you're just not going to feel as cramped or as surrounded by people all the time.
And check me if I'm wrong here, but in our experience, I think with Royal Caribbean specifically, their pools can be kind of small.
Oh,
and
wow.
so you have that kind of crowded feel, even though the space is large. It's just that pool. It's generally, to me at least, it feels smaller, and so everyone's like kind of crowded around this tiny little area.
Yeah, and in going back to what I was saying about the per passenger space ratio, the pool size on most Royal Caribbean ships, and I would say maybe even the same for some Norwegian ships, per guest is absolutely ridiculous. Even same with Carnival. Whereas with Princess, Celebrity, Holland America, the pools are double, triple the size of what you're going to find on Royal Caribbean, and the passenger count might be half. So if you would like an uncrowded pool, at least sometimes, and maybe not all the time, larger, more abundant hot tubs is also another really good example of that. You'll be able to probably find uncrowded pools and hot tubs. That's a great point. Didn't think about that. Did not think about that. So keeping along those same lines, we mentioned earlier that Celebrity was number 2. And my understanding about Celebrity from people I talk to is it's pretty similar to Princess and to Holland America in terms of just the overall product and offering, when we're talking about amenities and things like that, and the upscale feel and the more premium overall experience, hardware and software. But I think Celebrity might be what Bill and Stacy will do first. Even though I might say, and my audience might say Princess, I think Celebrity might be a more natural fit, and there's a reason why.
It feels like it would be an easier transition to me.
Yeah.
Assuming that they like Royal Caribbean, but they want something a little more grown up feeling.
Yes. Yeah. A little more grown up than Royal Caribbean, but maybe a little younger than Princess or Holland America. From what I understand, Celebrity skews just a teeny tiny bit. The average guest age might be just a tiny bit younger than Princess and Hal. But guess what? There's this huge factor for these particular cruisers that matters. And that is that their perks with Royal Caribbean, they transfer over to Celebrity.
That is definitely a valid point.
Yeah. And our audience brought that up. It's like, why wouldn't you go that direction first? So I think, as much as Princess was the common one, I think Celebrity actually makes the most sense, and I bet you they're going to do it. Now, what about the fact that also we've got to talk about something else that's happening here? And I'm going to divert into a cruise news story while we do this, but you guys, Celebrity is launching their river cruise division now, and you can actually pretty soon here put your deposit down on their inaugural 2027 season for river cruising. And they're going big with this, you guys. They're going to be sailing on the Danube and the Rhine. And I think that the bookings open at 9 a.m. on September 3rd. But this is going to be a big new focus for Celebrity. And I think it might be worth pursuing because it kind of combines a couple of different things, right? I don't know if their loyalty will transfer over here. I'm assuming it might, but it combines the sort of the elegance of a premium line with the known brand of Celebrity, right? So when we're thinking about river cruising, we're always thinking about Ama and Viking and Uniworld. And a lot of people are like, I don't know that brand name, right? I've never done an ocean cruise with them, maybe Viking Ocean, but otherwise, this is a mass market cruise company getting into the river game in a way that we just really don't see that often. So that could be something nice for Bill and Stacy to consider as well. But yeah, you guys, if anybody's interested in that river concept, full article is on our website, and I think it's going to be pretty crazy. And just think that you're going to be able to have that sophistication of the Edge series of ships, but as you're cruising through Europe, visiting all these tiny little towns and being able to step right off the ship and grab a bike for the day and just buzz around and then maybe come back for lunch and be in another city at the end of the day. A completely magical experience, very small guest counts, but not too small. What I like about these celebrity river cruises is they're going to have about, gosh, how many people are going to be on these? Oh, I lost it. I had it here. If anybody knows how many people are going to be on the ships, let me know. But I feel like it's slightly bigger than some of the other lines where, if you want a little more anonymity, you might be able to get that. So that's intriguing. Okay. So what about, they mentioned something in their email to me about the fact that their kids are grown up, so they're okay cruising without kids. And our audience had something to say about that. Like, well, there are some true no kids options. Really, there's only 2 official ones out there, and that's Viking Ocean is a no children, officially no kids allowed cruise line. And Virgin Voyages, also officially no children allowed. So they could also look at this in that way of like, okay, let's go down that road. Let's try a no kids option. Now, Viking Ocean and Virgin have very little in common, right? Viking Ocean is going to bring a lot of the elegance from the Viking River. The demographic is going to be considerably older, but you're going to have a decidedly adult feel, right? But more of a luxury experience, more close to Seabourn, to Oceania, to Silversea, to some of those, maybe Azamara, to some of those experiences than the premiums and the mass markets, but certainly not like Virgin. If they wanted to do Virgin, we've got to talk about the culture, right, around Virgin and who that's right for and what it's all about. So Virgin is known for, of course, having their adults only focus, right? You can be 18, by the way. It's not like 21 and up. It's 18 and up, but 18 and up on Virgin. They're known for having excellent food, and I can vouch for that. I sailed on Scarlet Lady last November. Totally blown away. Every step of the way, the food was just next level delicious. From their non-buffet buffet, which is basically like a food court, everything is made to order, to the made-to-order pizza, to the fact that there really are no main dining rooms. Everything is a specialty restaurant and everything is included in your fare. Just really something else. And you also, with Virgin, you really cannot compare the hammocks on the balcony to anything else in the cruise industry right now. Having a hammock on your balcony is a pleasure that you will enjoy so much more than you think you might. So I think Virgin is an interesting choice. I don't know, our audience likes Virgin because it makes them feel young, right? You can go on Virgin and feel like it's kind of like it's like a giant playground for adults, right? There's no kids running around. And the ships, though, they're just so beautiful. The downside is I think that Virgin, for some people, it could be a bit raunchy, right? Some elements of it. And again, this is not the whole cruise. It's decidedly adult is probably what I should say.
So you said it makes some people feel young. Did it make you feel young?
Yes, it did. And it's all in, I made a review video about it. I thought that I was going to feel really out of place and old. It did make me feel young. I actually was not by any means one of the oldest people on the ship. Far older people sail on Virgin than you think, especially if the voyage is over 4 days. I was only on a 5-day. I'd say the average age was well over 40. It did make me feel young, and it's hard to explain why. There's like a carefree culture on the ship that does. It makes you feel young. Hard to explain.
Like I don't think there's anything that's going to make me feel young right now.
Not even being surrounded by coolness on a Virgin Voyages vessel. And I think for me, part of it was that it's kind of cool. It's kind of hip, and you feel like you're a part of it. And the ships are so modern and, kind of like IKEA edgy that maybe that's part of it too. But our audience was very outspoken on Virgin. Like, you got to try it. You got to try it. I have met very few people who tried Virgin and did not like it. Me included. The only downside about Virgin, and it's a big, big downside, their pools are small. They're really small. So if you're looking for a, lounge by the pool for a week kind of vacation, you're going to be getting that at like Bimini, and the destinations, not so much the pool on the ship. It's really not meant Has a lot of beautiful outdoor space, but it's not as much meant for like swimming. So, but I don't think that Virgin should be overlooked. I think that it's, also their hardware is so new. The ships are so new. They're so beautiful.
Well, if you're throwing Virgin in there, because that to me that would be a huge departure from what they're used to.
Mm-hmm.
Why not MSC? Why not Cunard?
Because I haven't gotten to them yet.
Okay.
They're on the list there, buddy. Actually, Cunard was not on the list. So let's talk about that for a minute. Let's go there. Not one single person from our audience said Cunard. Now that I think about it, I'm looking back at the note. I don't think anybody mentioned it. But I personally would love to try Cunard. It's very much a traditional cruise experience. For sure, the demographic is considerably older. It's also very traditional. If you don't like dressing up, probably don't want to go on a Cunard cruise. But what a wonderful way to experience an ocean liner and to have the enrichment seminars, the music, the black tie evenings, the gala dinners. What a wonderful idea.
So I wonder if they don't get as much love, at least in the comments and stuff, because it's so small in terms of their destination offerings.
Yeah, a little smaller. I mean, they're doing more. They have Alaska now, but you're right. They're kind of known for transatlantics, right?
Exactly.
Yeah, kind of known for that. But you're right. That's probably why. I'm glad you brought them up, though.
I didn't know they were doing Alaska.
Yeah.
Let's go.
I know. Sounds great, huh?
Yeah.
I know.
I really want to try it because I'm a
You're a traditionalist.
Traditionalist.
Yes.
I mean, I'm old enough to appreciate tradition.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So
let's talk about MSC then.
Well, we could do that. Let's do it. I was going to talk about NCL.
Okay.
Because it's in order, right? So you just defer.
I'll just sit here and look pretty.
Okay, you do that, Mr. Arm Candy. The next big suggestion from our audience was NCL. And it wasn't all just Norwegian's Haven product, which is the luxury ship within a ship offering. There were people who also said, yeah, just go on a Norwegian ship because they're most like Royal Caribbean, really, in terms of having a lot of fun and activities, and the vibe and the feel is pretty similar. And I do have to agree with that. I would say again, though, pick a destination or a ship that are appropriate for the transition. Maybe do something like Asia, or you could do like Southeast Asia or Japan, or something like Northern Europe with Norwegian, and have a small ship experience that's great, or go on one of their newer ships. I will tell you, Norwegian Aqua, when we're talking about elevated experiences, even though it's a big ship, it's not a mega ship. But it is a testament to the fact that there are cruise lines out there still building ships that are mid-size. This is not a massive vessel that is impossible to navigate, but yet it's still incredibly elegant, well-appointed, and has a lot to offer in the way of premium amenities. So I would say Norwegian Aqua, maybe even Luna, who's coming out later. I believe it's later this year, is it March? Maybe next year, I think. Yeah, I think we're looking at spring 2026 for for Luna. So with Norwegian, let's talk about a couple of different things here with Norwegian and why this came up. Obviously, for Bill and Stacy, the Haven would be a dream come true, much like the MSC Yacht Club, which we will definitely talk about. But the Haven, the thing that I think they'd love about it is they're used to the buzz of a big ship, right? When you're on Royal Caribbean, there's a lot going on the newer ships. There's constantly some form of high caliber entertainment, whether it is an ice show, it is a water theater, aqua diving show, whether it's a really nice top-notch theatrical show with drones. Your standards are pretty darn high when you're cruising on Royal Caribbean for, fancy ships with cool stuff going on and really good entertainment. And Norwegian really brings it. The nice thing about the Haven is you're getting a luxury experience, but you're getting the full amenities of a nice, busy, buzzing cruise ship that you can go out and enjoy and then retreat away from when you are done with that for the day. But the reason I mentioned the newer ships for Norwegian is all cruise lines tend to put their A-game entertainment on their newer ships, but the entertainment on Aqua is so good. You've got the Prince Revolution show. You have Elements, The World Expanded, and you also have the Fleetwood Mac show, which the Fleetwood Mac rumor show is on other ships as well. It's not just Aqua, but I really think you're getting the A game of entertainment if you go on Norwegian Aqua. So that could be another one. Now, you don't have to stay in the Haven, though, with Norwegian. I think it would be A-okay to book like a mini suite, a junior suite. I wouldn't go with a regular balcony. Maybe on Aqua, maybe a brand new ship, maybe Prima, maybe Viva. Otherwise, I'd try to go a little more elevated with the cabin and maybe book Vibe Beach Club and the thermal suite for the week and add a little bit of luxury on Norwegian. Norwegian has exceptional specialty dining, which they also have on Royal Caribbean. The difference is Bill and Stacey are going to get spoiled because they're going to get the More at Sea package, and they're going to have some inclusions in there with dining and drinks and all that, which on Royal Caribbean was always probably way more of an upcharge. So the value on Norwegian, I think, is pretty exceptional. Okay, now let's talk about MSC. We have to talk about MSC. I had a few people mention MSC when we posted this on Facebook. People mentioned specific ships, but I think where I want to go with this for them is the MSC Yacht Club, like you said, right? If you can afford Royal Caribbean and you've been affording Royal Caribbean and you're Diamond, chances are you might be able to afford a stateroom right up on in the MSC Yacht Club. You might spend a tiny bit more, but Royal Caribbean's prices have gotten pretty high, and MSC is still the value leader in luxury when it comes to the Yacht Club. So the pros of the Yacht Club, much like Norwegian Cruise Line, it's that ship within a ship concept, and I can tell you it is incredibly relaxing to have a private complex you can go to with your own dining room, your own bar, your own concierge, butler. Granted, we probably never use the concierge or the butler much, but it is really relaxing. It's a new level of peacefulness to have that privacy, to have your own pool, your own hot tub in that complex, even to have some private outdoor dining. The only thing that's different, and some people will continue to criticize MSC for, is the food. And now that I've tried both the Haven and the Yacht Club, I do have to say that overall, I think the Norwegian Cruise Line Haven food is better than the Yacht Club food for the most part. Now, we've done exotic destinations in the Yacht Club, and that may be why they may be serving people of other nationalities more than they are trying to please American palates. But I'm not a picky eater, and I can still tell you that I think Norwegian wins it big time in the Haven with the food. It is just 12 out of 10, exceptionally good. And I'd say the Yacht Club is nice, but I think especially their breakfast on MSC is fabulous, especially if you can sit outside and, kind of watch as you pull into port. But I think lunches and dinners sometimes leave a bit to be desired on MSC still, and that they're still probably working on that. But yeah, MSC is a great option. Again, you're a lot like Royal Caribbean. You're getting that buzz of the big ship around you. You're probably getting thermal suite access at no additional charge because you're part of the Yacht Club. You've got great spas, just some incredible amenities. So there's a lot to be said for that. Now, we haven't talked about one of our favorite cruise lines, and that is Holland America. I know you absolutely love Holland America.
I do, yeah. It feels like home, kind of.
Yeah, so good.
Now. Princess and Holland America, they feel very comfortable for me. Yes.
Holland America has some nice, smaller ships too, and that can be very alluring for someone who's come from the big ship world, right? If you've been on these massive mega ships at Royal Caribbean, going down to a Holland America smaller ship is very special. I think for Bill and Stacey, what I would say is this: if you're going to do Alaska, please, please, please try Holland America and grab an itinerary with at least one Glacier Bay day. They do glacier viewing so nicely, and I love their Alaska itineraries. Your days in port just seem to be longer, and they've just got it down. And it is a very peaceful, relaxing, and beautiful experience. And their staterooms are bigger and more luxurious and more comfortable than some of the mass market lines. They may not look super elegant, but they feel good, right? Like some of the interiors might be kind of old, funky brown, but man, you've got extra space. You've got a couch. You might have a bathtub, and this is in a basic balcony. So I think there's a lot to be said for Holland America. And I think they're going to be pretty busy because there's not a single one of these cruise lines I wouldn't recommend that they try. I think this is a new fun adventure. Now, I did want to say that there was someone, Susan, had thrown out an idea for them too that's non-cruising, and she's like, why don't you take a train across the states? Like, let's say they're in Michigan, so I don't know if this would be possible, but take a train over to the US, stop in Seattle or Vancouver, jump on an Alaska cruise, then fly to LA and go on a Hawaii cruise and fly home. I thought that was fun. Great idea. It is cruisy, Susan, it's cruisy, but it's also like, doing the train. So if they have some time on their hands, that might be a fun one. But I loved our audience's input on all of this. I think that it got me thinking about change too, and just how we all do evolve in our vacation styles, especially if we're cruisers. You may not want to go on the same cruise line 5 years from now that you do now, and these changes are part of the process. They're totally inevitable and they're totally normal. So I want to talk about some cruise news really quickly. We're just going to do the highlights. The most recent cruise news this week just came out yesterday, and that is that the godmother for Celebrity Excel has been named. They are, her name is Janina Torres, and she is known as the world's best female chef. So that is cool. Congratulations to Janina Torres and to Celebrity. That sounds like a really neat fit for them. And I know that ship is going to be absolutely beautiful. Also, Holland America celebrates their best Alaska cruise overall recognition. They were recognized, I believe, once again, and now they're having a big old sale to celebrate. Oh, by the way, it was Forbes that named them the best Alaska cruise overall. Funny, because I was just saying the same thing. But they're having a nice sale right now, so contact your travel agent if you're thinking about sailing with Holland America. There's some great stuff going on right there. We already talked about the Celebrity River cruises opening up for deposit coming early September. Don't forget to miss that. Also, Star Princess.
To not miss that.
I'm sorry. Don't forget to miss that. Don't forget to not miss that. Get your deposits down on your Celebrity River cruise. Also, Star Princess has had her successful sea trials, which is a great sign because she is supposed to debut on October 4th, and we don't want anything to stand in the way of that debut. So very exciting time for Princess Cruises. That is going to be amazing. And speaking of our friends over at Princess, they made a very cool announcement just a few weeks ago, and that is surrounding their very popular Spellbound, I guess you could call it, experience on Princess, right? As many of you know, a few years ago, Princess partnered with the Magic Castle in Hollywood, California, which is a members-only magic club where you can go have dinner, enjoy an evening of magic and drinks and entertainment from world-renowned magicians. People will do anything to get into the Magic Castle, but you can only get in if you know someone who is a member, and you are only a member if you're a magician. And it is this very tricky speakeasy thing, right? But you can get a little taste of Spellbound on a Princess cruise. Now, they only have it right now on one ship, that is Sun Princess, but they've decided to bring it to Star as well. And the big announcement was that they're going to have a brand new, expanded, and even more interesting, I guess you could say, Magic Castle. And it's going to be inspired by the great Cardini, who is a distant relative of the current owner, Randy Pitchford, who owns the Magic Castle at this point. He's the great nephew of Cardini.
Yeah, we got a pretty thorough article
Yes.
on our website if you want all the details and pictures. There's lots of great pictures.
Mm-hmm.
So if you want to get an idea of what we're talking about, head over to the website. You may have to search Magic Castle.
Just search Spellbound.
Yeah, Spellbound. That's good.
Yeah, and you'll see that they have the moment you approach, there's this new like ticket booth thing that looks really neat. You guys should check that out. And then they're going to have an exclusive space called the Inner Circle, which is really neat. The Cardini bar is going to be a little bit different from the old bar, right? And then they're going to have the Peacock Theater as well. So it's just going to be great. And they're adding all kinds of new, beautiful cocktails. I got to taste 3 of them, and they were next level, you guys. They have one called the Cardini, which has a butter-washed rum old-fashioned, And when I tell you, you can taste the butter in it, it is the most surreal thing to taste butter with your rum, but it's just wonderful and unique and interesting and mysterious, and it's great. But here's the best part about all of this. I have had only one complaint about Spellbound the entire time, and that complaint was that it used to cost $150 per person to go. You would have dinner and then you go to Spellbound. Well, guess what? The dinner wasn't even in the theater. It was somewhere else, and I just don't think they needed the dinner. Now, get this, you guys. They're nixing the dinner, bringing the price down to $45 per person. Okay, how much more accessible does that sound? So, like, right? $45?
Yeah, it sounds better, especially if you're considering that you're on a cruise ship and you can go to dinner and then
Thank you.
do this.
Thank you. Like, you can go eat dinner anywhere. Why would you need to pay? You guys, this is a huge, big deal. Now, you're going to get 2 signature cocktails included in the $45, and you're going to also get the magic show. I think it's fair. And you guys, this is opening it up to so many more people, right? There's most people who are going on a Princess cruise, they can afford the $45 price tag. But there were times for sure with me what I thought, I don't know if I'd pay $150 per head for that. You know, that's $450 for my family of 3 if I were to take my son, and I just don't know. I mean, I really thought, I don't know about that. So I love it. I think it's very exciting. And we're going to end our podcast on that exciting note. But
no, I don't think we should.
Oh, okay. What do you have to say?
Well, I think you should mention our latest video, just because everyone is having so much fun with it.
Oh my gosh. Yes. So when we were in Alaska in May and June, you dreamed up this idea for a video about embarrassing things that people pack on cruises, but they don't really talk about. And you told me about it, and I was like, I don't know, that sounds kind of weird. Or maybe just too uncomfortable to talk about, right? And we're talking about things like maybe nose hair trimmers.
Yeah, it's things you're not going to see on a normal list because people are too embarrassed to put them on there.
They're not going to. Yeah.
But if you find yourself needing these,
right,
you're going to be sorry you didn't have this list.
Think creams, ointments.
Well,
stuff like that.
We don't.
But listen, I'm trying not to go into too much detail because I want people to go watch the video.
There's an article too. If you just want to look at the article and download the list, you can do that too.
Free packing list of things. But we did have a lot of fun with it, and I have really enjoyed reading the comments for this video because this packing list gets a little uncomfortable at times. We're talking about things that you would actually hide in your toiletry bag, like when you're going through TSA because you didn't want someone to see them, right? But at the same time, I think it's been very helpful, and it's also very revealing that we're all human and that we all have, everyone is aging. We're all aging, and we all have elements that we probably don't talk about, and we went there. So please go check out the video. It's called The Real Cruise Packing List That No One Talks About, and on the thumbnail, it'll say, pack these 23 embarrassing items. Trust me. Yes. Thank you so much, friends, for listening. Bill and Stacy, this one was for you. Hope you enjoyed it. And until next time, we'll see you on the high seas.
Thanks for listening to Cruise Tips TV Unplugged. If you like our show and want to know more, check us out at CruiseTipsTV.com. You can also find us on YouTube, Facebook, and Instagram by searching Cruise Tips TV. We'd love if you'd leave us a review wherever you're listening to this podcast, subscribe to the show, and tune in next week. Until next time, we'll see you on the high seas.